We are in the stage where at some point every build or every builder ends up, and that's waiting on parts. We got a lifter that came in that's gonna replace the defective one that we had. I'm not gonna tell you how it got defective. We're still waiting for an oil pan, we're still waiting for an oil pump, and we're also still waiting for our push rods. So we're somewhat limited. Right now we just have all of this mocked up. One of the things that Jacob and I are really both excited about is plumbing in the nitrous system, mainly because neither one of us have ever done that before. We have two issues. One is we're waiting on parts. Two is we're both a little OCD. But we decided to make this a little more functional in terms of being able to disassemble and or replace solenoids later on without having to cut wires and solder and everything else. So we're creating connectors for each one of these solenoids instead of these being hardwired. We're also taking the wiring that it came in, you know, the standard wiring, just to dress it up a little bit. We're adding some decorative, and it's more decorative, a little bit for protection, but more decorative than anything else. Some wire loom with some heat shrink on each side to hold it in place. Doesn't have to be done that way. This is just something that we're doing to, one, we're killing time because we're waiting on parts, and two, we're both a little OCD. So Jacob's going to kind of walk you through the actual process of what we're doing to make these connectors. Here, since you like to complain.
I do. Alright, so I got a little length of wire loom cut. I already got one end on, but I'll show you guys how to crimp on the other end that's going to go into our 6-pin. I'll take my SP quick strippers here.
Not to be confused with slow strippers.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm sorry.
Anyways. Quiet on the set. Alright, so I got my little piece of loom cut that's going to cover this section of the harness. And I went ahead and used my quick strippers to strip these two wires. You don't want to strip a ton off or it's going to be a pain to crimp the little terminal ends. It's worth noting that this is easier
if you do it right.
Yeah. So now that I got them stripped, I'm going to take a little bit of these little weather packing pieces and slide that on just till it's flush with the end of the insulation. Alright, which connector type? So this is going into the male connector, so I need one of these, this one. So that's the female end of the terminal. And I'm using a little pair of needle nose. I fold over one ear at a time. And there is a special crimping tool for these that makes this a whole lot easier. You may invest in one. And after I do it with my needle nose, I just come back with a regular set of crimpers. And you don't want to go ham on it. Just nice and firm. Alright, so we got the wire crimped on, but you see these little ears on the insulation, you really just got to fold those over so we hold in the weather packing. Now if you notice, we have some little ears right up here next to the connector. You don't want to fold those over. Those are actually the tabs that hold it in the connector. I'm just going to take my needle nose and gingerly fold these over. Just enough to hold that little bit of weather packing in. And fold it over like that. And I'll go ahead and do my other one, and then we can slip it inside the connector, and they should just clip right in. So Lee just got this little connector kit on Amazon. I've actually never used one before, and it is a little more time consuming, but you end up with a lot cleaner job. And of course, it's the weather packing is going to protect all our connections. I don't know, it's almost therapeutic, wouldn't you say, Lee?
Absolutely. I don't know that it's quite as therapeutic as drinking.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
But it's close.
And this little piece of heat shrink, it looks nice and it hides these frayed ends. It can be a little bit of a pain to get them tucked under though. A lot of times you can shove it over it, then pull it back. And we should be able to shrink it just like that. Alright, so I think if this tab is up, I need to put the ears in facing up. So I'll shove one in. Yep, I heard a click. That one's in there. Take the one, shove it in the pin next to it. Alright, both of those are good. So now, I'm just going to get our heat shrink positioned. We'll heat shrink both ends. Then we just got 2 more wires in our little sub harness here and we'll be ready to go. And be careful on that, if you use this plastic wire loom, if you get it hot it will melt and you'll melt a hole right in it. And you ruined all your pretty work, so I just kind of try to heat up on the end away from it. Let the heat kind of travel up to it. There, hang on. And you see, after just a couple of minutes, there was a somewhat professional looking sub harness here. And it looks like Mr. Lee's ready with the final 2 connectors. So like Lee was saying earlier, say if this solenoid fails, all we have to do is disconnect it here. We can change our solenoid. Before this, we were actually going to take all 6 of these wires, run them straight into this 6-pin plug. But then, Lee brought up, well, if this solenoid fails, you got to cut wires and stuff. So now if the solenoid fails, we need to change something out. We just unplug it. Or if we need to pull the engine, we can just unplug this 6-pin connector and leave all the nitrous and all the wiring where it's at. And plus it looks neat. No.
They want that to go right to ground.
Yeah. I was thinking about tying it in with the ground on the solenoid. That'd probably be a stupid idea.
Why?
It'd be getting pulsed with control.
Oh, it's ground control?
Yeah.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Yeah, there's a select distributor coil and plug on waste park. With the vehicle running, the RPM will be displayed on the right, allowing you to verify the correct coil setup. Coil and plug. So what do you... Speed, yeah, that's for vehicle speed.
Technically, we're not coil on plug.
Coil near plug.
We're coil near plug, and they are different.
Hey, this is Jacob over at Cutting Edge Automotive. I just had a quick question on how to set up the RPM sensing for a ProMax progressive nitrous controller. If you would give me a holler back here at 251-504-6916. Thank you.
We're waiting for a call back from Nitrous Outlet. Give us some idea. We're pretty sure, we ultimately should be able to piggyback off of the RPM signal going back to the ECM, send that to the nitrous controller. That is an assumption though, and instead of wiring everything and assuming that the controller will be able to interpret that trigger from the crank sensor, then we're just waiting to hear back from Nitrous Outlet. While we're waiting for that, we did get our lifter in. We're still waiting on our push rods, but we can go ahead and get the lifter in, and then we can go ahead and torque this head back down.
Down 28?
Nope. I got it on 80.
Bumblebee a tuna. Bumblebee a tuna.